Hey everyone, I'm Jessica with Pencil First Games, and welcome to a crossover type event. This is us at AwSHUX Spring 2021, and also our usual monthly solo Sunday. So kind of mixing it all together. And we're gonna welcome everybody who joins us. I'll let everybody get settled in, but we are playing Herbaceous Sprouts today, which is gonna be a lot of fun. I know Herbaceous backwards and forwards. That one I play all the time. Herbaceous Sprouts is kind of a step up from there in terms of complexity. We're going to have some tools we can use. Choosing kind of one of the biggest pieces of this is this nice bag in here. And what is in there? All kinds of dice. So we're going to be rolling dice, which I realized I don't have a dice tray. So we're going to hope that we don't roll these off the table, and maybe they'll end up growing on their own, which doesn't happen. So we are doing Herbaceous Sprouts, though. So what is Herbaceous Sprouts? I always forget to give credit at the beginning of these, but let's take a look at the box there. This is by Steve Finn, Eduardo Baraf, and Beth Sobel. So this is Beth Sobel's artwork. This is one of our bigger boxes compared to, say, oh my, let's do a size comparison real quick. This is a herbaceous box, so kind of that size. And if we want to take it and compare it to the brand new Herbaceous Pocket Edition, you can see you can fit a lot of pocket editions there. But still a reasonable size box here. So let's get this area cleared out a little bit, and let's see what we're looking at for a solo Sunday. So I have chosen to play as yellow. These are going to be my tokens. We might as well get the box out of there because that's not going to really help us. So let's see if we can get that. Kind of can't quite read it, but we'll kind of, you know, add to the decoration there. So this is the garden that we are going to try to be planting in. So there's spaces for multiple types of set collections. If you're familiar with herbaceous, this should look pretty familiar. We have the same type of herb, we have all different types, pairs, and then the new element is this nice flower garden area over here. So we're going to see 3 different types of flowers that we can plant during this game, you know, as little seeds represented by those seed dice. And so we're going to be trying to be putting out our tokens like this, but at the same time, you have the rival gardener. And the rival gardener is going to be trying to take up other spaces too, in a very strategic and interesting kind of way. So we'll see how that works as we get into this. Feel free to leave comments, questions, anything. I'll be monitoring both here on Facebook, and we're also on the AwSHUX Discord server, so I will be keeping an eye on those. So feel free to pop in at any time if you have questions. Let's take a look at what we have here. So this is kind of the play area. Not enormous, it's still pretty reasonably sized. But as I always do with Herbaceous, that's the biscuit card. In Herbaceous Sprouts, it's this lovely glass of relaxing, refreshing lemonade. And what happens here in the solo game, and it's similar in multiplayer, the first person to get one of their tokens in each one of these 4 areas of the main garden gets to claim that glass of lemonade, which is worth 2 extra points at the end of the game. So the rival can get that. So we're going to kind of be keeping an eye on what happens there. We're going to have a deck of cards here, which are all tools. So just as a quick example, we're going to have dice on some of these, as well as symbols for what we can do with them. There's all different types. Some of them don't have dice that go on them. I feel like it's easier to kind of get into play rather than explain exactly what symbols mean. So let's do some shuffling. And in the solo game, we do that similarly to how a 2-player game works, where we're going to shuffle all of the cards and remove 10 of them, which I like as an element of variability. You don't know what's going to be in that deck. Could be anything. But it might be removing tools that normally you would really want to use. So let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And those 10 go out of play. We will not be using them. And then we're going to have our nice deck here. And what are we going to do here? Well, in the solo game, we're basically going to be alternating with this helpful card. We're going to be alternating turns as a master gardener and then as an assistant gardener, all the while trying to beat the rival gardener, represented by the tokens over here. And the turns are pretty simple. What this is saying on the master gardener turn, we get to draw a die from the bag, roll it, and then place it in our wheelbarrow. And then we take a normal turn, which I'll show you how that works in a minute. We're going to be claiming one of the 3 cards in the tool shed area, which is what the second section says. The rival then places a token in the 2 spaces indicated by those cards that we didn't pick up. And then clean up, and we become the assistant gardener, which the assistant gardener is a little bit different. We're actually going to be flipping over the top card of the deck over here, which is for that rival gardener. We're going to take our turn as normal, and then, boop, we're back to being a master gardener. So that just kind of, you're going to flip-flop back and forth over the course of 10 rounds. It's pretty quick, but I'll show you how the decisions are interesting and not so simple. Again, if you're familiar with Herbaceous, you'll recognize some of the set collection elements here. We are going to be using our nice, our wheelbarrow kind of, this is not a card, this is nice cardboard, thick cardboard, which actually, if you know Herbaceous, the backs should be familiar, and they're really nice in this game. They're huge. You can see it's on the back. So we are playing as yellow. And on the wheelbarrow card, so there's references for what a lot of these symbols mean that we'll see on those tool cards. And then we also have space for dice. And we can never have more than 7. So we'll see how that works with determining, should I plant these seeds now or should I wait? So I have those down here, a couple of reference cards just nearby. And I think we are about ready to start. So let's get started here, not with the dice. We're going to start with the tool shed, and I'll kind of show you what's going on with that. Solo game, we're going to have 3, and I like to deal these first before I roll dice. So I'm just going to lay these out real quickly, and I'll explain what all these are doing. So all of these at the top, I'm going to bring one up. All of these get dice on the spaces indicated at the top. So let's get that rocking and literally rolling. So the first card is going to have 3 dice. We're going to kind of shuffle around in the dice bag and draw 3 blindly. So there's 3. And there's different colors of dice, which indicate they have some dice, each different color kind of has a special ability or special side to it. So we're going to take these 3, I'm going to roll them and hope they don't go flying. Oh, and this is a very interesting selection. We'll explain why in a second. But on these dice, and I know it's going to be hard to see from far away, but for instance here, that is a black-eyed Susan, which is one of the rare flowers that can get planted in that flower garden area. So we're not making pairs with those. We need a special action to kind of get in that flower garden. And the second one is actually a peony, which I know it's show that off a little bit. I know they're a little bit not the easiest to see at this angle. And then a lavender. All right, so then let's fill up the other ones. The second one is just calling for 1 die. So that's another green apparently. Green is the color of the day. That's a bay. And then we're going to fill up 2 dice on the last one. So we roll those. And what are we looking at? That is a rosemary. And this is a pink one with tarragon showing. It's tarragon, but just so you know, there is a special icon on the pink dice, which is hard to see up close, but it's a little glove with a plus sign. So we'll see what that means when we actually get there, if I can set that to tarragon. Okay. So that's how we set up the tool shed. Very nice. We have a lot of decisions, which we'll get to in a minute, but we are going to first do the Master Gardener start phase. So that tells me I'm a master gardener. I just get to start with a nice seed die. So I'm going to, again, randomly going through this. I'm not looking. I'm going to randomly go inside here and a blue die. See that? So I'm going to roll that. Again, you're not choosing what side to pick here. And there's a bag. So that goes directly in my wheelbarrow. I now have 6 open spaces. And so now it's time to take my turn. So let's see if we can kind of, again, I kind of went over what dice are on each. So when you're choosing a card from the tool shed, you are choosing both the dice that you're going to be picking up and putting in your wheelbarrow, as well as the tool. And at the very bottom, it's a little hard to see right now, that's where the rival is going to get to place their token. So there's 3 different things that you're kind of considering for each card. Which dice do I want? Is this tool useful to me? And can I block the rival gardener from going in that space? So the answer to if I can block the rival gardener right now, it's the first turn. So they're looking at placing a couple in the flower garden, which is annoying because I want to put them over there. And we have no way to actually plant in the flower garden. There's a special icon, the trowel, that we'll see come up a few times. That's a special action to put a flower in its garden. Alrighty, so we really can't block anything there. That's not really going to be a big deciding factor. Let's see. And then we also have different herbs that would go up here, which is worth 5 points. That one is probably where I want to try to block the opponent if I can, but is that card useful to me? So what do the cards actually mean, the tools? The first one, and I know it might be a little far away, is saying that any die that I have that is showing, I should say not any, one die I'm showing, that one die I have that's showing bay, I can turn it to any other face on that die. So I do actually have a bay here on the blue die. And what I could do there is actually, if I pick that card up, I could turn this over to this interesting wild side, which means that I can make that into any herb I want at any time. It doesn't have to be right now. It's when planting. So that's pretty nice. Let's get this back to a bay. The second one is saying I can re-roll any one die. That's what the gloves do. So I could re-roll either the die I'm picking up from this card or what's in my wheelbarrow. It's taking a chance. The nice thing here, though, is this is a pot of rosemary. And what that does is that card actually slides over here and kind of acts as a die, but without filling up the wheelbarrow. So I can decide to plant that at another time. That's nice, too. And then the third one is just saying I can re-roll 3 dice. And that's done one at a time. So you wouldn't have to, you could re-roll the same die up to 3 times. Decisions. So what do I want to do here? I really like getting these flowers early, but that's going to fill up my wheelbarrow. I'm going to have 4 out of 7 spaces filled up, which is a lot because you can never have more than 7. You have to discard down. So that's not good. But then I can re-roll that. No, because I'm not going to be able to. I think my best bet. Let me see. What is this green die going to have on it? So I know this is a rosemary. This is a rosemary on the face right now, but it is on a card where I could potentially re-roll it. And there's actually, that is one of the flowers that I could potentially plant. Forget-me-nots, actually. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do exactly that. I am going to take this card, which means these dice come over into my wheelbarrow. So now I have 3 out of 7 spaces filled. This card is mine, but I'm not going to keep it because I need to use it immediately. So we need to re-roll 3 dice. Okay. So I think I definitely want to try to go for those forget-me-nots. Rosemary doesn't do anything for me. So let's take this and find a semi-good re-roll space. So the first re-roll gets me tarragon, and I'm going to say, no, thank you. I'm going to get my gloves out again and say, lavender, you're nice, but no. So we're just going to re-roll again. And that gets me bay. All right, that's not too bad because now I have a pair technically, so that's okay. This is now going to go into our discard pile, which I'm going to start one right over here. So that was my turn. What the Master Gardener is telling me now is I took a card. It doesn't matter from where. That's what the check mark is saying here, is that you took a card, but there's 2 left. So what do you do with those 2? The Rival Gardener says, you know what? That's my space. So we have one where we're looking for the Black-Eyed Susans in the 3 space. So they're going to place their token there. And the second one is, that is the Forget-Me-Nots in the 4 space. So those were both open. Obviously, it's the first turn, so that's that. Oh, and then we're going to be flipping over because we're going to be the Assistant Gardener next. We clean up everything, so all of these dice go back in our handy bag, and then these get discarded, so those are gone. Alrighty, and it's on to the next turn. So let's see what happens here. So this is the Assistant Gardener's turn, which is what we alternate between Master Gardener, Assistant Gardener. So the Rival Gardener, we're going to flip over the top card of this deck. Actually, hold on. Get your tool shed. So we are going to get the tool shed out here. The reason why I mix it up sometimes is because I don't actually put all the dice out on this until I draw this, because we're going to discard a card. So I don't like just rolling dice that are going to be discarded. So this is what one of those Rival Gardener cards looks like. So it's telling us to first place a rival token on the first card, indicated on the first card if possible, and then discard that card. But down here, it's a kind of, oh my gosh, it's going on the camera. As I mentioned before, this is a container. So we actually get to keep this card, us. We take it from the rival. And I'm going to stick it right down under here. And what that is that counts as another bay, which is really good for me because I currently have 2 bay dice. So that's looking pretty nice. However, the first card is telling me to place a rival token in the 4 space for different herbs. So that is going to look like this. And there's 2 spaces for a lot of these herb areas. So the first person that's going to get there, first player, I should say, will get more points. So let's see. Let's fill out the dice now, because that was what the Assistant Gardener does. We need 3 dice. So there's 3, nice and colorful. We're going to put on this other card. All right, that's a peony, lavender, and tarragon. And then the other one is just 1 die. And that is going to turn out to be a bay. Ooh, tricky, tricky. All right, so what I always look at here is the trowel allows me to plant a flower into its garden. The nice thing here is I have a peony, so with this card I could immediately plant this for 4 points there, and then I would pick up a lavender and a tarragon, giving me 2 pairs. That's pretty nice. Oh, but the bay is nice. No, you know what? We're going to take this. So we're going to take all of our dice. Put them in our wheelbarrow. It's getting heavy. There's a lot of dice in there. And then this is my card. And I am going to use that trowel to then say, this gets discarded, but the trowel tells me, I have this peony. Here it is. Nice little guy. And I would like to place it in the first available space in the flower garden, the peony space. And then this goes back into the seed bag, the seed dice bag, to be included again. So now, if we were playing the advanced solo version, we would actually place a rival token in the space indicated on this remaining card. I am not feeling up to that. So we're going to make sure that we flip this back over to remember we're the Master Gardener next turn. This die gets cleared out. This goes away. And then we're going to refill the tool shed for next turn. We're looking at, so we're going to have 3 different cards and apparently a lot of dice, which is actually tricky for me because if you see my wheelbarrow, I only have space for 2 dice. So one of these is going to have to get discarded. So we're going to do 3 for the first one. Ooh, that has a wild, black-eyed Susan, and a saffron. Second card, 3 blue dice somehow, and none with the wild symbol. Lavender, tarragon, and saffron. That's pretty good. And then I could, no, that's not going to work. Me thinking. And then another 3 for the last one. Ooh, okay. So there's a bay, there's a trowel, and tarragon. Ooh, okay, so lots of interesting stuff here to think about. So again, what I like to do is now that we've played a couple rounds, see where those tokens would go for the rival. And if they actually can't go there, the rival won't be able to place the token. So sometimes you can say, all right, if I leave that card there, the rival can't place anything. So let's see. So first they're looking at the, I always forget, the forget-me-nots. I forget the name of the forget-me-nots in the free space, which is open. 3 of the same, which is also open. And then, let's see, Black-Eyed Susan 2. Ooh. All of those are open. The interesting thing here is that I'm thinking I might be able to, I could plant 3 before we get to, too much thinking, right? All right, so what do I actually want to do? Because I think I want to, the trowel is not going to help me here because I have no way to get a flower token, and that's what the trowel is for. It's specifically for putting it in that flower garden, and I don't have anything. So we're going to rule that one out. But what would help me? Oh, a wild over here would actually help. That trowel I can save. No, we're going to take the first one, and we're going to claim, oh, that is a trowel. I want you, and I would like the Black-Eyed Susan. Okay, so I can't fit any more dice in here, so we're going to have to say, sorry, Saffron, you didn't make it. We're going to have to get rid of that one. There's no additional actions on this card. This was just take those dice. I'm going to put that there. And then I'm going to say, all right, before my turn is over, I can actually block the rival from planting in the 3 space by planting 3 of the same. I'm going to save up my bay, though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, I have 2 tarragon right here, and then I'm going to use this wild and turn that wild into a tarragon. So I have 3 dice, so 3 little tarragon sprouts that I am going to go and put up here in the same. So that's going to be worth 4 points. These dice, again, are all gone because they are technically in the garden. I've planted them. So then it's the rival who is going to plant in just one spot, which is going to be right here for 2 points. Because they cannot, there's no additional space to put it there. So too bad for you. So let's make sure we flip this over to the assistant gardener side. We clean up by removing and putting all these other dice back in the dice bag as I mow down the discard pile. Okay, let's get this. And then these get discarded. And let's get ready for the next turn. So we're going to have 2 and 3. I feel like I forgot to take my extra die at the master garden, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I didn't need it anyway. This is exactly what I wanted. So before I put the dice out there, I am going to reveal the top part here, which is telling me that's the 3rd one that they are going to put a rival token on. So that, what are we looking at? We are looking at different herbs in the 2 space. So we're going to claim there. This then becomes mine. And again, as I mentioned, that's going to count as a saffron. So pretty nice. And then let's get 1 die out there because that second card is calling for it. And it's saffron. Alrighty. So what do I want to do here? So the options are, this one is giving me a saffron plus a container of saffron. That's a lot of saffron. And I can re-roll one die. The first one is a little bit more of a gamble because I get to take 2 dice from the dice bag blindly, roll those, and keep those, and then I have the ability to re-roll 3 dice. That would be nice as I rhyme over here, but I kind of, all right, so that would be the 4 space. I am reserving the 4 space for me, but that doesn't really matter because we're not placing anything. Okay, I'm going to take this card. So what that's going to do is I'm going to get to take 2 dice from the dice bag and roll those. So roll those dice. And we've got a rosemary and a tarragon. And then I get to re-roll 3 dice. So what can we do here? I think I'm going for pears, which is not going so hot. I have bay, and that's about it. So I'm going to take this tarragon and re-roll that once. That's a saffron, which works because I have a saffron. And then I already have bay, both in the die and in this container down here. So I want to take this blue die. I'm going to take this blue die and re-roll that once, which is actually number 2. It's a tarragon. I'm going to re-roll it again, and that's my last re-roll. What do I get? Ooh, yes, exactly what I wanted. The wild symbol showed up there. Let's see if we can get that in the camera a little better. So that's a wild symbol. I can turn that into anything I want, which, thank you very much, I would like to. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do a bunch of pairs. So we're going to use this card, which has a saffron container on it, plus my saffron die. That's a pair. That's going to count as a pair. Same idea with bay. You can get it out here. There's a container with bay on it. I'm going to use that plus my bay here. So that's another pair. And then I am going to use my wild blue and flip that over, and why don't we use it for some lovely lavender? And then those 2 are going to count as my 3rd pair. So I am proudly taking my marker over here, my token, and putting it in the 3 space for pairs, which is going to be worth 9 points at the end. That's what I would like. All right, so that is it, and that kind of cleared out my wheelbarrow. So we're going to make sure we flip this back over to the Master Gardener side. Let's toss the dice back in here because these are all gone. These 2, just like to keep them separate, are going to be the discards for the rival over there. This is the tool shed, which is gone. So before I fill the tool shed, I am taking my my free die from the Master Gardener side, rolling that, and I get a bay. Apparently bay likes me today. And then we're going to take out, oh my, interesting, that's a lot of dice here. All right, so let's see, again, that first card needs 3. So we have saffron, bay, and a peony. All right, and then the card is, again, 3 dice. Roll those away, and what do we get? We get a bay, a lavender, and a saffron. All right, that's pretty good. So again, let's see. So this turn, this is the Master Gardener turn. So we want to make sure that we kind of block that rival from getting into some of these spaces, right? So let's see. The first one would be Peony 4, which I already took. So this first card, the rival can't do much. So if I don't take those dice, it's not going to be able to place a token. Same thing with the second card. And the last card is a pair in the 2 space. Ooh. That is where it could actually place a token. So that is an interesting choice here. I think what I'm going to do is actually take this last one because that completely blocks the opponent from placing anything this turn. So this one, again, there's no dice on this card. So I get to draw 2 dice blindly from the bag and roll them. So let's do that for step 1 because then I have all these gloves. So 2 yellow dice, interesting. Okay, So let's see, that's a saffron and a bay. And if I'm not mistaken, okay, all right. The yellow dice have a trowel icon on them. So remember, I have 3 rerolls available to me. If I could get one of these to be a trowel, I could immediately plant my lovely black-eyed Susan in this 4 space that's open, which is what I would love to do. So let's see. So let's see if luck is on my side. Let's take, who do I not need? Saffron is not matching up. I apologize, Saffron. So we're going to take this die, roll it once, and what do you know? I got the trowel. Okay. I do have 2 more rerolls available to me, which is kind of nice because I don't actually need anything at the moment. So let's try to get, the trowel icon is nice to try to go for. So I'm going to take my other yellow die, and that gives me a saffron. I'm going to keep it, and then I'm going to go with my blue die and try to get that wild icon. And instead, it is a rosemary, but that's not too bad. So what I'm going to do now is with my dice, so again, this is on the yellow die. That's the special ability / symbol on the yellow dice. One face has that trowel icon, which means I can take this lovely black-eyed Susan right here. It's one of the special flowers. And I am going to take those, place my token in the highest available space, which is 4 points. And then these are gone because, again, I just planted it, digging it up, putting it in the ground, and I'm done. So then the rival gardener over here, who, by the way, I don't know how I haven't brought this in yet. You know who it is. Caw-caw, it's me from Floriferous. Yes, it's the pesky guest from Floriferous. We're going to put that over here and just pretend that's the rival gardener because, honestly, it is. It's my new favorite solo opponent. So let's see. The crow over here has to be upset because they can't actually place any of their rival tokens. So both of those were blocked because there's already tokens there. So let's go ahead and make sure that we flip this over so that we know that the next turn is an assistant gardener. These are discarded. And I am getting close to picking up that delicious and relaxing, refreshing glass of lemonade because I need to be the first to plant in all 4 areas. If I can get unique ones, which I am working on to a certain extent, then I can go up there. Alrighty, so let's take a look. See here. We're doing the assistant gardener turn. So let's get all of these out here. All right, and then that's going to be, we're going to flip this up, and so we are losing the first one. So let me just make sure I keep this. That is the forget-me-not, which is nice. And so the first one is going, oh man, and it's going in the worst space. If you see at the very bottom, kind of the lower left, it's telling me it's going in the space for 6 of the same type of herb, excuse me, which is 12 points. Oh, man. You terrible crow, you. So let's roll 2 dice for that second card. We've got a saffron and a wild symbol. And then for the third one, it is tarragon. All righty. So what can I do here? Okay, so that would work, but doesn't actually get some. So what I'm thinking here is this watering can symbol, that tells me I can trade 2 identical seeds to plant 1 flower. So remember I have this forget-me-not over here. So if I discard 2 dice with the same face, for instance, 2 rosemary or 2 saffron, I could plant that. So it works kind of like a trowel, just with a little bit of a higher cost because it's watering. It takes some effort. So it is a trowel, but you know, you got to fill up the watering can. Let me see. So what do we want to do here? The other one is just picking up the theme, which doesn't help. No, we're going to take this second card. I have a wild symbol, which definitely helps. So we're going to use that watering can immediately to get rid of what? 2 saffron or 2 rosemary? We'll pay the 2 rosemary, going back into the seed dice bag. And then we're going to be discarding this in order to plant it right over here. So that's 3 points for me. And that is that turn. I don't know. How do we think I'm doing? We'll see. All right, so I'm going to do the Master Gardener before I do the tool shed. I'm going to take my free die that I get from here. And it is a forget-me-not, which is, that doesn't help me too much. So let's see. We've got 1, 2, and 3 cards, all different there. So the first one is calling for 3 dice. So again, I'm just randomly digging around in this bag, rolling 3 dice. So we have tarragon, saffron, and bay. And then the last card calls for 2 dice. Roll those out. And that is bay and a black-eyed Susan. And I should just note all the areas for black-eyed Susans are filled in. So that die is not worth anything to me unless I can re-roll it. There are points at the end of the game for holding onto dice, but we still have a few more rounds left. So it's a little early to say that you just want to hang on to a single die for 1 point. Also, this space, oh, it is open. Oh no, but if I planted, do I have a trowel? I do not. Tricky, tricky. You could try to re-roll. Is that space is available? Ah, and that space is available? Are those, that is not good. Oh. And the first card is saying that if I have a die that has a face of lavender, I can change it to anything that I want. So I could, it doesn't really help me too much. All of those are available. Okay, so what is my best bet here? What is my best bet? To what? To plant wheat in the same I already took. I think I have a 4 there, which isn't bad. Yeah, because I want to keep the rival out of here because I want to be sure that I don't let them get the lemonade. I want the lemonade. It's like the biscuit card. So this would be mine. So this is telling me again that I can change a die with that lavender face to any face. So I'm going to do that actually, which is, it doesn't actually help. It doesn't do much. It's basically the same thing as me saying, I want this wild to be a saffron. And then what I'm going to do is take 4 saffrons. So let's see, 4 dice here. And we are going to put that over here in this space to claim 5 points, which is small, I know, but you never know. You know, it all adds up. And so that then, and again, I'm managing my wheelbarrow. So there's, that the size of that is pretty limited, but we only have 3 out of 7 right now. So then the rival is going to be able to place one here. Oh man, the flower garden is just, the crow took over the flower garden. Flip that to remember we're going into the assistant gardener phase. And then let's get set up for the next round. So we're going to have, again, 3 cards in our tool shed. Interesting. And then we're going to flip this first card, which is saying that it is going for, aha. All right, so we're going to discard. This is going to come over to me as a lavender container. And this is getting discarded. And the rival is trying to place a token where there are 4 of the same type of herbs. And I say, I don't think so. I already claimed it, so you don't get to do anything. And they're like, no, says the crow. All right, so let's get the dice out here. That is tarragon and bay. 2 pairs. And then 1 is rosemary. I'm going to take this one because I can get some pairs going on there, and then I get to re-roll a die up to 3 times. So as I said, the forget-me-nots, now that whole space is filled in, so that doesn't do anything for me. So I roll it and I get a tarragon. Let's reroll one. I'm going to reroll again. It's a saffron, and we're going to roll it a third time. And it's a tarragon. Okay. Alrighty, so the decision point, though, is do I want to right now? Because the big point here is that I only have space for 2 more dice in this wheelbarrow. Granted, there are a lot of cards that are coming down to the end here pretty quickly. So do I want to get... It's 6. I mean, no, you know what? I do want to do it. I do. I know what I want to do. I want to take 2 tarragon and 2 bay. So that's 2 pairs right there. And I want to put out my token right here. No, wait, I do not want to do that. Let's reverse. I was just testing out the ground, that's all. Oh, all right, I'm not going to actually. No, thank you. So we're gonna discard everything here, flip this back over because now I'm back to being a master gardener. I'm gonna take, oh, that's right, I get a free die here. So this could be tricky with what we get. That doesn't count. What am I saying? Okay, it's 11. I wasn't cheating, that was literally discards getting in the way. All right, so then let's get out our tool shed, okay. Ooh. All right, so the nice thing here as I fill in the dice is that there's not a ton of dice coming out this turn, which is good because I can only fit 1 more in my wheelbarrow. So let's take a look at what we're dealing with here. Okay, so there's my 3 choices. Let's take a look at what spaces are filled in. Pairs of 1 is not. That's already taken, and that I'm actually going to steal from you. So I can't actually, even though that's a little bit of a waste, isn't it? Unless I picked up you. Nope, that's a waste. I still want to get new pairs. Oh, the struggle to decide what to do with Herbaceous Sprouts. I am going to take the second, and I'm going to hang on to a rosemary. Again, I can't hang on to the saffron, sorry. And then the trowel here would tell me that I can plant a flower. I don't have any flowers, so the trowel is doing nothing for me. And then at the very bottom, this is telling me that any 1 die, I can change from 1 die face to another, which is very nice, because what I'm going to do is change this to a wild and leave it as a wild for the moment. So before that rival crow gets excited about going out there and putting it on the pairs section, I am actually going to do much better with the pairs. I'm going to go for 3 pairs. How do I do that? I have bay, I have tarragon, and I have lavender. Right there. So this is then going over here. These dice are all going away, and I can claim that space. All right. Then you are going to claim space, and you are also going to claim space. Oh. Which, by the way, I played that poorly because guess who gets the lemonade? The crow. I'll just say it tainted it. Stole my lemonade. All right. A poorly played round. Gardener extreme over here. All right. I'm going to flip, so we're back to the assistant gardener side. Get our cards out here, which I believe, yep, we are in our last round. Let's take a look. So this is telling us the second card, which is going to be, you take it the 9-pointer. Ouch. But I do get a rosemary. Let's keep that Keep your lemonade. Let's see what we can do with this last turn. I feel we have done poorly, but we will not know until we get to the very end. So 3 dice there. Okay, that could be worth it. And 1 die over here. Ooh, that one is not to me. So I think, yeah, there's not a question about it. I'm going to take this first one with the trowel. And the trowel is letting me plant a flower. So let's get this lovely peony that I just picked up. That we're going to get out of here, and we're going to claim the 2 points there. That's fine. And then what can I do for the most points? I think I can get pairs. I could get 2 pair, which is worth 6 points, versus I think unique ones I can just get, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 4 points. So we'll do 2. So we're going to take rosemary here. We're going to change this wild over into lavender. So that's 2 pairs. I'm going to put up here for 6 points. Discard all these dice, discard this, and we are done. So it is time to find out who won. Was it me or the crow? And I mean, we're going to take a look. Let me just get this one out of here so I don't mix it up. Alrighty, so we'll go with me first and just hope for the best. So 5 and 4, that's 9, 18, 26, 32, 36, 38, 42, 45, and this is not worth anything because it is not. What did I say, 45? 45. All right, I'm at 45. It's not looking good. The crow took everything. I'm blaming on Floriferous crow. All right, so 45, and then they have 12 and 9 is 21 already. 26, 29, 31, 34, 37, 40, 42, 46, 48, 50. The crow got me, but that was pretty close. I was a little worried there that it was going to be embarrassing, but 45 to 50, not too shabby. At least for me. I mean, if we actually take a look at the rule book, though, we'll find out that I didn't do so well. Because what you're looking for is you're looking for the differential between what the rival scored and what you scored. So I didn't even make it to a fledgling grower. It's a sad, sad day. Oh my. However, inside Herbaceous Sprouts, what I really like is you'll recognize this artwork from Herbaceous along with a couple of new cards. But if we flip these over, they actually have some nice facts and information about those flowers and herbs, just as a nice little reference. These are nice cards just to have around. And yes, Jimmy over here says, close, I'm having some lemonade with the crow. I laugh because there is my dad. Enjoy. Enjoy. I'm surprised that they didn't have a crow show up next to my window because that's usually what happens when I'm playing a game. I will just look up and there's a giant crow there. So they're coming after me. Also, sunlight is apparently coming after me too. So let's see. So that is Herbaceous Sprouts. And just if we want to see all these lovely dice, let's make a mess. There's a bunch of dice in that dice bag to choose from. And maybe a biscuit, I see. Someone's having lemonade plus a biscuit with the crow. I don't know about that combination, but, enjoy. Also, remember, we took out these 10 cards that were not in the deck this time. And so you can see we had some other options here that may have come in handy at different points, but they were not in the deck. So the next time, we're going to reshuffle that deck And I took forever explaining that. We only have about 10 minutes left. And I don't think I can do this in 10 minutes. I mean, I can do speed gardening with herbaceous, but you put me in front of herbaceous sprouts and I have to think it through. But let me see if I can lift up this board because this is really nice artwork. I know there's tokens on it. Don't flip it, Jessica. Don't flip it. But if we want to kind of take a look like around the garden, you know, there's a lot of details here and it's all split up into different areas. You can kind of see as I try to keep this vaguely steady. We're waiting for a disaster. I only dropped what? So far, I think I only dropped the Whatnot Cabinet rule book. So we're in pretty good shape. And there's the lemonade, which definitely looks good. And again, this is Beth Sobel's artwork. Beautiful, as always. I need some work, apparently, on my sprouting skills. I can do herbaceous. Sprouts, questionable at best. But there are times where I have won by a considerable margin. So it just comes down to, can you do it, Jessica? Can you do it? So again, as we are at the tail end, I think we kind of went through all the cards, what those mean. Multiplayer is kind of similar to what you're seeing here with the solo game. With the 2- and 3-player game, you're actually using those rival tokens as well. So you're competing not against each other, but also against the rival who's going to be placing in spaces. So your best laid plans may be foiled, just like mine were. Except, I mean, if we were actually paying attention, it wasn't. It was not the best laid plans. It was me just making, you know, bad decisions. Yeah, but that is Herbaceous Sprouts. And so you can also see the cards that we used. We didn't actually use all of those rival cards. So they all kind of come with a different container. So you'll see all different types. And the ones we didn't have, would those have come in handy? I don't know. Ooh, that one, I forgot. There's a nice one that comes with a trowel. So that one lets you actually use that action whenever, which is kind of nice. Again, you can kind of plan ahead if you have the trowel for containers, or if you have a die that has that trowel icon, you can plan ahead. But if it comes up as a tool card, the trowel's not around for long. It's got other things to do, you know? But yeah, this is the bag again. It comes with that. Did I show off the insert? Why not? Let's go. Let's head into the box real quickly with my terrible bags. But but it has this really nice printed insert that you'll see everything kind of. I mean, I'm jamming stuff in here at the moment. But yes, Herbaceous Sprouts is here. You can find that. That's available through your friendly local game store. We sell it direct on our website. If anybody has questions, I've posted incessantly with links to everything. This is available to play digitally. You'll find those links everywhere. If you have any questions, though, pop those anywhere. We always check. And if you have a question, always happy to help. So what else do I have? There was Sprouts. We talked about Herbaceous Pocket Edition a little bit, which, again, it all fits in that same kind of series, and it's just adorable and very compact. What else did we not talk about? The crow over here, of course, belongs to Floriferous. That one's going to be really nice, and you can kind of see. I had the idea here with sprouts. There's a lot of herb areas of the garden, but then there's also flowers that go in over here. And Floriferous is all about kind of going through a garden and choosing and arranging all those different cards. I think we went through a lot of that, but the box back includes a lot of, you know, the ideas behind that and fulfilling goals, making arrangements, what have you. So let's get the crow out of there, and let's at least see what my biggest mistake here, and this is something I sometimes do with solo games, I kind of go back at the very end and say, what did I do wrong? And not that there is, you know, these aren't games where you're going to be sitting here and agonizing over strategy, but I definitely gave up the lemonade. That was not by chance. That was me just giving it away by not placing a token in this lovely area of the garden and letting the rival gardener go in there. They stole it from me. But yeah, but if we didn't see this again shows you, there's your little wheelbarrow with up to 7 spaces to put dice. There's different icons to tell you what those do. And then there's kind of a breakdown of the number and type of dice and their special ability that you can find in that dice seed bag. So again, if we were going to take any of those out, let's get are these not mixed? I am literally drawing all blue at the moment. So this is what those dice look like. Really nice. With all the different actions. So yes, that is Herbaceous Sprouts, and we are about out of time here. So I think we are going to call it and say, well, especially because I'm now getting my crazy afternoon sun. Not that I complain. But that is it for Pencil First Games at AwSHUX Spring 2021, and this was another solo Sunday. I will be back in May, the last Sunday in May, I should say. That's always when we do solo Sundays. That'll be showing off another one of our games, and it's always fun. I have a great time. We'll probably see the crow again. What are you going to do? But that's everything. Again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. Reminders are that the Herbaceous Pocket Edition is available directly from us. That's going to be shipping out on May 3rd, and it's not going into standard retail release. So definitely check that out. And Floriferous late pledges are open until April 30th. So make sure that you go in there. That one, you're going to be able to bundle Sunset Over Water or Herbaceous with Floriferous if you would like to. Sometimes that saves on shipping, just makes it easier to get it to you. And that is about it. So thank you so much to everybody who stopped by and watched, both now and previously. We had a great time at AwSHUX. We're looking forward to more. And I am, of course, looking forward to more solo Sundays with everybody. So join me again next month as we take a look at another Pencil First Games solo mode. Thanks again, everybody. Take care.